This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I'm Cheney Crab.
I am Naveen Copperwise.
If you would like to submit questions for the podcast, email us at KoperCrabbPodcast@gmail.com. We've got merch available at the link in our description. If you don't know who we are, we play metal.
Yeah, we're a couple of
metalheads.
We're a very famous metal couple, and we started a podcast to talk about metal and what it's like to be in an underground metal band. I guess that would be the pitch.
That's the pitch. It's expanded far beyond that at this point, but here we are.
Yeah, and in reality,
I finished the pitch.
In reality, all we do is just kind of screw around each week, basically.
Talk crap.
Sometimes we have people on the show, sometimes we don't.
You'll never know.
Well, I guess you would know if it says in the description.
True.
Who the guest is.
True that.
And we used to name the episodes when they were just me and Cheney, but last week we tried not naming it, and it seemed to do the same.
I think it's working out.
Maybe the names are confusing people.
I think it's working out for the better not having names since we started rolling with that a week ago.
Yeah, because when I would think of like funny names, something funny we said, but the podcast wouldn't necessarily be about that.
I don't think it ever was.
Yeah, it would never be about it. It would be like, if our cats came in, I'd be like, oh, cat, it's about beers and cats. And then people would be like, oh, well, I don't really want to listen to a podcast about beers and cats. But they don't know the joke that it's not about that.
But that's the thing about podcasts in general is that it's like discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you just turned me down.
I tried to mute my mic to do a sniffle. I am sick, but it is in fact not COVID.
You took the test.
I went to the store and bought the test. Which was actually pretty fun to do.
It was fun to go and buy the test?
No, buying it wasn't so fun, but doing the test was kind of fun. I kind of liked it.
I guess you should have hypothetically sent someone else to buy it.
Well, that was my plan. I had a plan where if they were like, are you seriously coming in here with maybe COVID? And I was going to be like, no, it's not for me. It's for my girlfriend.
My friend.
Yeah. No, I made sure not to sniffle or... And you have to wear a mask here anyway, so, I mean, they can't really...
I was in the sauna, like, maybe 2 months ago when saunas kind of reopened in California, and I had to sniffle so badly because of my sinuses. Ever since I broke my nose, my sinuses have been weird. But there was another guy in the sauna with me, and I, finally just did it. And he turned to me and he was like, yeah, it's kind of awkward to sniffle in public now, isn't it?
Oh, really? He addressed it?
He acknowledged it. And I was just like, wow, I'm glad that other people, you're not alone in this universe. Other people are kind of experiencing the same things that you are or thinking the same things that you are. I don't want to sniffle because I don't want to set anyone off.
Sneeze. Or like your sister had a funny Instagram story. So it was like, oh, tired of waiting in line? Just start fake coughing.
Oh, on Black Friday.
Something like that.
Avoid the Black Friday line by coughing.
Yeah. But it was kind of weird because I almost felt like a little bit like ashamed to buy the test. And then I was like, why am I feeling what difference does it make? It's not like I did anything like crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Millions of people are getting COVID all the time.
Yeah.
Probably every day. I don't know the exact numbers,
I'm sure.
Anyway, I was like, yeah, I've got the sniffles. Need to get this test. What's going on here?
Just to make sure.
I think, I don't know. I don't know if people are like me, but I guess sometimes I'm a little bashful.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have social anxiety.
Yeah.
There's been the social anxiety thing. It's like everyone talks about it now. And a lot of people do genuinely have crippling social anxiety. But I think everyone experiences that to a small degree, right? It's always weird to go out in public or to see I don't know. It's weird when you just say you're meeting up with people, but you have to go through the saying hi process and the kind of getting comfortable in a situation.
Right.
That's just a part of living, I think, to experience at least a mild degree of that.
I agree. And that's why that's why beer exists, right?
Social lubricant.
But it would be nice to just be not have that and just be more relaxed.
There are a lot of people out there doing it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to practice that Just kind of be like, you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh shit, I'm gonna like avoid them. Just be like, how's it going, man?
You're the guy that no one wants to see in public.
I know.
You're the guy who I would, if you said hi to me one time, I would outwardly probably try to avoid you.
Because there is somebody at the gym that I do know, not like super well, but I've kind of tried to do that, like, dude, how's it going? Like throw him the metal horn. He's into metal, so throw him the metal horns, and he's like,
yeah, he doesn't want to be talked to.
I can tell that he's like, every time I show up, he's like bummed, but I get it, It's not like I want to.
Yeah, you're really into like acknowledging people, and I'm like, Naveen.
Well, it's awkward.
I mean, we should acknowledge people.
Yeah.
I know it is. It's so. What's more awkward, to say what's up to someone and have them be like, I don't really want to even see this guy, or to go through the experience of we both know that we know each other, and now we're being weird by not saying anything.
Well, then you just gotta.
Maybe you should just send him the nod. I like the nod.
No, now I just go like this. I don't do thumbs up. I just do the metal horns.
Yeah.
I know that he doesn't want to chat. I don't want to chat either. Honestly.
You don't do stop and chats though. You just say hey to people. Sometimes you will do stop and chats.
If the person wants to stop and chat, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
But sometimes you might be the person who wants to do the stop and chat.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like I'm just being nice.
Speaking of chatting, today I was on the phone with someone because we're changing all of our utilities essentially to Tennessee because
we are moving to Tennessee. There's got to be a new. There was a KoperCrabb bingo before.
Yeah.
Now it's totally different.
It's all taken over by Nashville.
We're moving to Nashville.
I remember when we wouldn't even say it on the podcast at first.
Yeah.
And now we're just all about it.
We're moving to Nashville. I have a flip phone. Right?
Beer. We do still talk
about beer.
Drinking or beer or
yeah. And then what else would it be?
I don't really know.
I used to check to see if everything was working because I used OBS, but now I switched over to a hardware setup.
I know. I feel like we're getting a little closer to the we aren't messing around with everything before the podcast. It's not a total pain.
No, it's not a meltdown. Honestly, today it took like, I'm thinking 2 minutes to set up.
There you have it, folks.
It was great.
85 episodes in.
We figured
You're going to figure out how to set up your cameras. We're literally over 2 years into doing a podcast, and we're just now figuring out how to have it set up all the time.
People underestimate it,
Oh,
like
absolutely. Man.
This might be another KoperCrabb bingo thing. Me talking about how everybody else quit doing podcasts, and we kept doing it.
It's true. I've seen a lot of podcasts come and go. We've seen a lot of bands come and go, and a lot of podcasts come and go since we started both things. That's like the nature of things,
My pen. Yeah, but yeah, you were saying I
saw your awesome pen.
I know. I went and bought some new pen. Oh, here it is.
There you go.
Sweet. I was gonna say, don't forget to talk about Nashville, but we're back on it now.
We're already talking about it.
You were saying that we're moving to Nashville. For those who don't know, and Shane's we've been both having to make calls to cancel this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah,
switch
exactly.
it over
because that's a ton of stuff to deal with. Moving out of state, moving anywhere is just like it's a lot to deal with. But moving out of state, we've had to coordinate a lot more things.
It's pretty, and honestly, state to state, a lot of things aren't the same. Like I had to call a friend of mine in Nashville and ask him, "Do you have to pay for garbage?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "What are you talking about?" Because in California, you have to pay for them to collect your garbage.
Yeah, I think we pay.
It's like $50 a month.
No, it's $50 every 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's $25 a month, but
it's
still an expense.
$300 a year.
It's still an expense,
Cross that off.
and I mean, a million podcast episodes. We were all on the Dave Ramsey, talking about the Dave Ramsey program and how we've saved money that way, and we are a little lax with it now, but we still
definitely lax.
Once you start once you integrate something like that into your life, it's kind of like working out. No matter how much you fall out of it, there's still a part of it that you keep with you.
I know,
it's like dieting.
Even if you go down, your new bottom is like still way above.
Totally.
Like our lowest point is like having some money put away for an emergency. Whereas before, my lowest point was having negative money.
Right.
nothing and owing money
Yeah.
all over town.
Yeah, not knowing what we pay, like the total amount of what we pay in bills monthly.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I know. I wonder how many
I knew
people
we paid bills.
How much are all your bills each month?
Yeah.
How many people know that? To a T?
I mean, not
very
a
many.
lot. It's hard to get yourself into a mode where you want to like budget. That's hard to do. It's really hard, and that's why it's so coveted to be debt free, and why people are freaking out when you go debt free.
But debt free, baby.
But we were on the Dave Ramsey plan, and we have no debt because of that. But also, along with the Dave Ramsey plan, there's the baby steps. You know it obviously really well. Everything I say is just hearsay through Naveen or what I've heard when he has me listen to the Dave Ramsey show.
Yeah. It really helped us out. And I think, honestly, musicians could benefit from that big time. Because
I mean, every single person I know could benefit from that in every way, but especially being in a band. You're right. I totally agree.
Because people in bands are like, oh, you just are going to be broke and not have any money. And like, yeah, you might not be as well off as some of your friends who went to business school, but you can maximize what you do have.
Yeah. I mean,
and support the thing that you love. That's the only reason why we even did it. I don't care about having extra money or whatever.
Yeah, not at all.
You know, we care about being able to support the band and this podcast and the stuff that we really want to continue doing.
Exactly.
And it's got us to a place where we're able to make this move that we've always wanted to do. And now we can spend a lot more time doing those things. It wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have that initial game plan and know what to do.
Absolutely. And with the band, it's like we're not in a huge band. We're in a like really weird niche band, but we still are in the green. You know, we're not like a huge money making band. We bring in some money, sure, but because Naveen got so into Dave Ramsey and got our band on that plan, like when we go on tour, we're not afraid of all of the expenses that may come our way. And that, to me, is all that I could hope for, is being able to go on tour and feeling comfortable knowing that, okay, if the van breaks down, we have the money to fix anything that's going on. We're not going to be totally screwed if we don't make a ton of money on this tour. Like, you have everything just kind of figured out ahead of time.
And really, you know, we're talking about this Dave Ramsey thing. That's a money guy, and the plan that he puts forth is pretty simple. It's really, I'm not going to go too far into it, but for those of you who don't know, it's getting rid of all your debt and living off the money that you do have and writing down everything that you're going to spend.
Totally.
So it's really just the most simplistic thing that should be pretty obvious to all of us, but we live in a society that's buy, this, that, and the other thing, and even taking out crazy amounts of debt. Even I had a credit card with like $5,000 debt on it.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And we had 2 car payments. So what we did was just work super hard. We didn't spend hardly any money and paid all that stuff off. Now that money that we were paying for that stuff, we can put towards something else. Yeah. And that's really all it is.
Right. We don't have car payments.
Yeah.
Our van is paid off. Our car is paid off.
Right.
The only thing that we pay on are our monthly bills.
Exactly.
But every month we know exactly how much we pay in bills, and we make that amount of money. And once you make over that, then you have money to put in savings or money to spend. And we allot that money too. So there was a point we're not really doing this right now. We're not doing this tightly right now. Let's just say that. But there was a time where it was like we're telling each other, or we're giving each other like a monthly amount that we can spend on random stuff like clothes or it's look at it as your, I don't know,
allowance.
Free. Yeah, your allowance.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to feel bad for spending. Right. And you could say, and it is actually pretty fun. You know, I'd be like, all right, I really want that thing, but I don't have enough money for it. I'm gonna wait till next month.
Totally.
But it does. It's definitely a practice and like self-control, and it's.
Oh God, it's like a game. It becomes fun over time, but it is something that you have to habitually do. And I think we were probably pretty strict on it for a year.
Definitely. But it got like it. You'll see it does a lot for you. Dude, and we did that with our band too. We paid off a bunch of merch debt and all this back shit that we owed, and a lot of bands have that hanging over.
Oh yeah.
And so we kind of bit the bullet and said like, all right, well, on this next tour, we're not going to really pay ourselves anything and just pay all this stuff off.
Yeah.
So
But it really helped
anyway,
us.
it's a good thing to do. I
It's
definitely
also-
recommend everybody look into that.
Same. And it's also, just to finish that up, it's like, that's just a moment in time. It seems really tedious to like go a year with just being really strict on your budget and trying to get everything paid off and looking at it as what's going to happen in front of you and not in hindsight. It's like, oh my God, this is a huge undertaking. But once you're past that year and you see how far it's gotten you and you look back on it, it's just a fucking year of your life. It's not that much time.
Yeah.
You have to, it's really important, I think, in all things that you're looking to accomplish, just to take them one day at a time and don't expect gigantic results in a day. It's the same as working out all the time. Yeah. You just have to make it habitual. And over time, you get really good at those things and you see great benefits from that, as opposed to just like spending $10 willy-nilly here and there on stuff.
It adds up. You don't realize it adds up.
It really adds up.
Everything is kind of like that. I mean, even with the podcast, there's been so many weeks where we're like, oh, let's just not do it. We come up with all these excuses. Just today we were doing that.
We do that all the time.
And we're recording. We don't need to take a break to do the podcast. And it's like, you know what? Cut the bullshit.
Just do it.
Get in there. Check in, dude.
Yeah.
Checking in is like huge. Especially, I said that a long time ago. I would tell people, wanting to get better at drums. Like, I don't practice a whole lot, but I check in. I'm going to check in on the drums. I'm going to play the drums for a little while. Maybe it's not the most in-depth, best session where I learned all this stuff, but I did the bare minimum of checking in and maintain that thread.
Mm-hmm. I look at that when I draw, because I do pointillism. It takes forever to like sit there and do dot work on huge drawings. But if I do a little bit of dot work every day, if I can only dedicate 20 or 30 minutes to it, it's worth sitting down and doing, because now it's like I've been working on a certain piece for probably the span of 5 months, but I just sit and work on it every so often, and you see great results by doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Spending a few minutes on it each day.
I know, and you can see a lot of people do that type of thing.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's huge in every aspect.
That's got to be one of the keys to success. I mean,
check in, dude.
Yeah. I've been reading a book this year. God, I can't remember the guy who wrote it, but it's about creating habits. And it's just stuff that we've all heard before, just put together in a book. And I've been listening to it on an audiobook, and it's just like, it's life-changing if you listen to that stuff all the time. If you make it like you're going to listen to a podcast, go and listen to a book about changing your habits, and for at least, it inspires you for at least 2 or 3 days to get in. Yeah. But you just got to keep that going.
Yeah. Well, I read somewhere that a lot of these things.
James Clear. That's his name. Sorry.
There you go. They don't really come.
Atomic Habits. Damn it. All just came to me. Sorry to interrupt you, but James Clear, Atomic Habits. Really good read.
There we go. I've not read it.
You should.
So it's about
listen to it on audiobook. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it. I've been doing audiobooks a lot lately because
flip phone.
The old flip phone. Check that shit out.
But I wanted to get back to the story that I was telling.
Yeah.
So we're changing all of our utilities, and I kid you not, every single person I talk to in Tennessee about our utilities, about buying our house, about whatever, it's just nice people.
I know. And it's the thing that I noticed is it's a person.
It's a person.
So all the utilities that we call about in California to get them canceled or whatever, you don't usually talk to a person.
Yeah.
It's like an automated system, and it sucks.
Or you have to do it online.
Right.
I like a good old in-person
I called Nashville today, the water, and the person just went, hello? Like that. I thought I was calling someone's house.
We were sitting at the table having coffee, and you were on speakerphone, and it was like,
I was like, is this water? Or?
Hello.
I was like, is this the water department? No.
And she was like, yeah, this is the water.
It's great. Like,
I know.
We're like on alien land. We're like travelers in an alien land, trying to figure out who are all these nice people.
all of the people who I talk to who are like the service call center of these places, nicest fucking people I've ever talked to in my life.
I thought you were outside on the phone with your mom.
Today, I talked to a lady about our car insurance, okay? And I was making a payment, and we had a whole 15-minute conversation about how she moved from California 30 years ago to Nashville. She's never moved back. And I was asking her if her kids have Southern accents. And she was like, oh yeah, they have Southern accents. Her accent is Southern. And I was just like, damn, am I going to have a Southern accent in 10 years?
It's kind of something that we always talk about though. Like if we have kids out there,
that's so poser.
They're going to be Southern.
It's so poser. Okay. I feel like a poser now because I know I've developed some California dialogue tendencies.
Like, dude.
And yeah, bro, I think I said like legit to her on the phone today. You just say things like that. But I'm afraid that I'm going to move to the South and feel like even more of a poser because I've developed a Southern accent.
Or you'll be a poser because you'll have a California accent out in Nashville and you're from Iowa.
Yeah, God. That's like the holy grail of poserism.
Totally.
Do you remember when calling people a poser was like the thing? It was all in,
definitely.
I wonder if middle schoolers are still out there doing that. You're a poser.
Middle school, that was what it was all about, being a poser or getting called one. I didn't even know what that meant or care. Like, yeah, okay, I don't even know what I'm posing
I think I got called a poser once. Who's a fucking poser now?
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean you got for being into metal?
Yeah, I think I might have got called a poser for wearing, I want to say it was maybe a System of a Down shirt when I was in 7th grade.
Damn, called out.
Yeah, I'm a poser because I'm 10 and just got into a band. Yeah, that's posing.
I know. I never really got that.
Like,
or like being
old sorry,
school.
I didn't find out about him when I was 3. Sorry about that. What the fuck?
I always, laugh at that kind of stuff because it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I just didn't hear it.
Yeah,
oops. What am I going to do? Go back in time and...
My bad, dude.
It came across my awareness at this time.
Yeah.
And now I like it.
I wouldn't call someone a poser if they got into some form of music when they were 75. Let alone if they were 7.
Yeah. Because,
what the fuck?
I think sometimes older bands get like bummed about that, like, oh, you didn't like us when we were playing to nobody, that kind of thing.
What
it's like,
kind
but they
of
just
a
didn't
mentality
know
is
about
that?
it. They just didn't know about
Oh,
it.
sorry, you got bigger. Oh, sorry, you toured more. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
I want people to find out about, I hope people are out there posing.
Pose on,
Yeah,
dude.
pose on, bro.
Keep posing.
Keep on posing.
I know, let's have a bunch of posers that like our band.
That's how you know you made it. If posers listen to you.
Totally.
Because that was probably when System of a Down was hitting. And I was like, they were just starting to see their stuff stocked at
I remember
Hot Topic.
I got the System of a Down CD and like the first one. Remember the first one?
Yeah, isn't it called, it's self-titled?
I don't know anymore.
I think it's self-titled.
There's like this one song where I think everything kind of stops and he starts using a lot of swear words. He's like, why the fuck did you do something? Fuck.
Yeah,
like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, I had it and I was like playing it and like right when that part came on, like of course, like my dad walked in,
Yeah, it's like when
and
you're
I'm like
watching
or whatever,
like
and he's like
American Beauty or something and your dad walks in right when there are boobs on
I know.
screen.
What the hell is with that?
I know. Or like the sex scene, you watch like this gnarly sex scene with your parents. It's
just shitty.
No, thank you.
You know what's funny is the opposite of that used to always happen with my mom. Like she'd be watching some like French movie or something.
Yeah.
And like every time I'd like walk in the living room as a kid, it'd be like some crazy sex scene and she'd be like, what's going on here? Like, trying to act like.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Oh man. So today I was like, I can't remember what I was going to say.
It's not good for a podcast.
It was like walking in front. It was something about Santa Claus. Oh, I heard a story about how kids are not hearing about Santa Claus now. Or they already know that Santa Claus is fake. very young
Uh-huh.
because they watch YouTube videos and they figure it out. And apparently they're trying to hide it from you now.
Because because they're afraid they're not going to get any more presents.
Yeah.
The jig's up.
Smart. Kids are so smart.
I know. Kids are really smart.
They really are. People hella underestimate children.
I know. Do you ever feel like I look back at pretty much ever since I can remember, I don't really ever remember feeling like I know less than I do now.
Never. Never. I've never felt like I was like a child.
I was pretty much just always about like not having to do stuff I don't want to do. That's like number one. And then I just want to do like my fun little hobbies and
that's all I wanted.
Sort of a thing.
Yeah. All I've ever wanted to do is like play music.
Yeah.
Sing, play drums. I mean, I can't remember not wanting to do those things.
Yeah, me too.
I
wanted to play guitar.
Myself not. I wanted to play guitar. Pretty much any musical instrument, like that's what I wanted. And I've always been drawn to that. It's kind of crazy. I remember I had like a recorder when I was a kid.
Did you shred that thing?
I mean, I wasn't a recorder prodigy, if that's what you're asking. But I played viola when I was in like 4th grade. I've never not wanted to play an instrument.
Yeah, me too. Even before I was like serious about it.
Same.
I wanted to. I like learned how to do an actual drum beat when I was like 10. But even before that, I like wanted to play guitar.
I remember I learned.
I thought it was way cooler to be a guitar player. That's like why I wanted to be
totally
in the front, like rocking out.
I learned to count. I learned like how to count beats when I was in 7th grade. I learned what 4/4 was. Like this kid who was a friend of mine came over and he was like, okay, this is how you count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it stays the same and you have to play on beat.
You're like, cool.
Yeah.
About that. Yeah, I remember.
I've never forgotten that. You remember when you learned to play on beat?
Yeah, like my dad taught me. And he's like, all right, it's the hi-hat goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Kick drum is on 1 and the snare is on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That was it right there.
And then you were playing.
My dad's
every
a drummer,
breath
by
you
the way.
take.
That's like how I learned how to play drums.
Yeah, he's more a percussionist.
He is a percussionist.
Yeah. He's sick.
We'll call it that.
I mean, he's just, your dad is amazing because he will get up with a band at a restaurant.
I know. Well, there's a meme that I'm sure a bunch of you guys have seen, and it's like a picture of some guy's dad.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a text from the dad to the kid or something. And the dad's like, I'm drunk on stage, like playing bongos with this band. And my dad does that like all the time.
Like any band.
Like BYOB though. Bring your own bongo.
Bring your own bongo. He would do it with a band downtown on the street. I'm just talking like from any band you can think of. Restaurant bands.
He's in the restaurant, someone from the table you start hearing bongos. It's my dad, dude.
I think he'll do like open bongos too, right? He'll go and like... Didn't you say that you were at a party last year and your dad started playing bongos and like the people weren't really feeling it?
Well, no, there's a thing I've talked about on the show before. Like once a year we go to a friend's gathering. It's like a men's only thing. And
just for men. Men only.
Controversial these days. But
no wives allowed.
No, it's a chance to get away from all these wives.
Ball and chain.
Anyway, so it's like him, and like they bring their sons, So I go, my brothers go and stuff. And they had a band one year. My dad was like rocking it with the bongos. But the thing is, they were kind of... Did
he bring them?
Oh yeah.
He bought.
There might be some there.
House bongos.
There might be house bongos. We got him those bongos, by the way.
Me?
Yeah, we got him for like his birthday one year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Me and you.
For sure.
But so yeah, the band was more of like a rockabilly kind of, you know what I mean? They had like a very like a vibe, like the guy
all day
they were like folk.
Yeah.
So you could tell they're like very anti-bongo, right? Maybe if my dad was playing like a washboard or something,
okay, yeah.
It would have worked.
Yeah.
But you could tell they were like bongos, and no, that's fucking up our whole vibe here.
Yeah. It's like
and they were
wrong
like
instrument, bro.
Not feeling them.
Yeah.
And so my dad did get the hint, which is kind of surprising for my dad. And he was like, man, I don't know what's up with those guys. You know, they really didn't want to jam or anything like that, you know?
He said that?
Yeah.
Holy shit. What's up with those guys? It's like, dude,
It's like
they're trying to play death metal and they're trying to play death metal and you have like, I don't know. I don't want to say death metal because you could bring any instrument into death metal, period.
Yeah.
They're trying to play pop music and you have
they're
double bass.
They're trying to play rockabilly and you're up there with bongos and you're not in the band.
Bongos are like, what are those people? What were they called? God, the name's on the tip of my tongue. In like the 50s, it was the anti-hippie.
Oh, yeah.
They would like play bongos, the beatniks. So like that's what it reminds me of, beatniks. It's like, yeah, they're at like a fucking poetry reading or something. It's like, oh, and I went down, you know, it's like what Bob Dylan would speak over.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm not a fan. But speaking of beatniks, we watched all that, the Beatles
Speaking
stuff.
of beatniks,
they're not beatniks,
you may have heard of beatniks. What about the Beatles?
Yeah. So we watched the Beatles special. I don't know if any of you guys watched that.
It's called Get Back. I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was like, okay, this is really boring. It's only for people who are, because I'm not really like particularly into the Beatles.
Yeah, I love the Beatles.
But so it's kind of like, okay, it was more like candid footage, you know? But after like, I don't know, whatever, 4 or 5 hours, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it.
After 4 or 5 hours. So right at the end.
I think I actually went to sleep. I went to sleep during the first one, but
yeah.
In hindsight,
well, that was on Thanksgiving, so we had a lot of
cooler.
food.
In hindsight, it's way cooler than some like corny documentary with like sit downs and stuff, you know?
Oh, it's
like,
way cooler.
Especially if
there's no narration.
Yeah, halfway through, I was like, if you are a Beatles fan, this is super sick.
It was sick. And if you are a Beatles fan, you're familiar with the original documentary, Let It Be, that was essentially cut in a way that made it look like the Beatles broke up over that specific recording session and that Yoko Ono was like ruining the band because she was there all the time. So
she was there all the time.
She was there all the time.
She was there.
She had little to nothing to do with any band matters whatsoever. She literally, I mean, it seemed like she barely spoke. Of course, there are like 50 more hours of footage. You don't know what's on that. Like we said,
they should make another
it's
version.
Like paid for by Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono.
We were joking around that it was like paid for by Paul McCartney because...
But they are the producers. They are the producers, so it was paid for by them.
That's true. But I mean, that kind of ruins the joke. But...
Yeah. So essentially,
I guess that's true because it really made it look like he was doing all the work.
Oh, totally. I saw this meme that was like, I'm starting to feel like Paul McCartney, where I really don't want to be the one to make all the decisions, but I don't want anyone else to make the decisions either.
Exactly. But yeah, it was also cool because the George Harrison, like getting into the Hare Krishna movement and stuff was kind of like in the air there. And like my parents were in that. So
yeah,
my mom actually knew the 2 Hare Krishna guys that were in the first one. Like they were just there. I don't know what they were doing there. They were like chanting.
I think they were just there for moral support.
Just kind of like keeping an eye on George Harrison.
Yeah.
Make sure he didn't do anything bad. Kind of a vibe.
See, I'm wondering what like drug use they cut out of that documentary.
Yeah.
Because it's fabled that, I mean, it's not really fabled, but they say that John Lennon was on heroin at that time. And I'm assuming it's just the nature of the times. The Beatles weren't straight edge, which is fine. I'm just interested to know. You know, you saw him rolling a joint or like smoking grass or whatever.
It was on Disney. So I don't
know. It was on
Disney. Disneyed it up.
It was produced by the Beatles. Have the Beatles become more of like a family-friendly band over time? I don't really know.
I think they are pretty family-friendly, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say that's kind of the...
But I was like, there's probably some drug use. You hear someone, I think it was John, talking about uppers or pep pills in like the second documentary. But
Pep.
So you'd think, but who knows? But yeah, it was a great documentary.
Let me get one of those bangs in it.
Let me have a bang, an espresso.
Well, they were drinking coffee the whole time.
Let me, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. How are you not? They were smoking hella cigs too.
Oh, that was.
They were drinking
cigs. Then it was just like. Yeah, of course you're smoking a cig. That's like air.
Totally.
Everyone's just looking all cool with their cigs.
Yeah, they looked awesome.
And they looked really like
true artists.
Showed up at the studio like in a suit.
Oh yeah, I was
like,
loving
that's
that. It
that's
inspired
awesome.
me. So after
Yeah.
we watched that, I started because we're. Oh, sorry, I kicked the camera. But we're
Kick my damn camera.
kick
I think it
my
looks all right.
damn. So we're tracking our album
At home.
and at home. So I was like, let's dress up. Let's get dressed for the
I
studio.
know.
At
Not
least.
like me in my underwear, like at the desk.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we should be like ready, like looking cool when we're tracking.
I know. Sometimes I do that for the podcast. You know, I'll be in here with like my shorts that I sleep in. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I should get ready to do the podcast.
I think it's better when you're doing
Be looking
something,
like-
when you're at home a lot of the time and the stuff that you work on is at home. Just get like,
Kind of helps to get dressed.
helps to get dressed. It also helps to maybe sometimes like go for a drive.
There you
Just
go.
get out of the house.
And then also because we make coffee and everything at home too, because we have a little espresso machine now, which is epic. By the
Saves
way.
us a lot of money, Dave Ramsey program style.
Yeah.
A
So,
lot.
but you know, we don't even have to go like get a coffee. So
Right.
we're just here a lot,
We're just chilling.
which is great. I'll take it. I like it.
Seems like we're going to be doing a lot of that in Nashville because the lady told me that it was 20 degrees this morning.
I know.
Fuck.
So she was freaking us out. Like,
Well, we'll be
Wait a minute, it's
able to
cold.
sleep in and stuff. So I think
also
that,
we'll have heat. Like we don't have really
I know.
heat at our house here. I mean, there is heat, but there's like vent in one room.
Yeah.
And
the heat's kind of
heat's
like
not
crap.
as serious of a thing here in or in California. Pretty much California. I
Yeah.
guess.
No, it's not. I mean, like the bottom half, which I know that we're considered NorCal, but is this Northern
We're
California?
kind of
Not
central,
really. We're
really.
Central California.
We're not technically central.
It's like
but
NorCal.
if you look at
It's
the
like,
map,
bro, you don't even
we're
live
pretty
in North.
much pretty centrally.
That's what I don't get. Why are you
Located.
repping? Why are you like going hard on repping NorCal?
Well, it's technically Northern California.
Nah. Is it?
What?
She's a NorCal denier.
You are a NorCal denier, apparently. That's like
Yeah. Probably.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's
why I'm so
exactly
sick of
that's
that.
what I modeled it
I'm
after.
like done with Curb. 'Cause everything is like, you pushed. You're a pusher.
You're a middler.
It's like, I didn't push. I'm not a pusher. That's the whole
That's the
thing now.
premise.
Yeah.
That's the premise
Like,
of every Curb.
He
Your Enthusiasm.
squatted. He's a squatter. I didn't squat. I'm not a squatter.
And then it's
You're a squatter.
Susie. Larry, you're a fucking squatter.
Yeah.
You know, and she's pissed.
I
It's
know.
like
It was like funny at
I
first.
figured it out.
When it was like, oh, you snoozed. You're a snoozer.
the
It's like,
first
oh, that's
9
funny.
seasons.
Yeah.
They didn't really do that. I feel like that's a newer thing that they brought in. It hasn't always been like you're a snoozer.
They're leaning in on that.
They're really leaning in.
What was the last one that she bounced or something?
I don't fucking know, like a bouncer. Yeah, because
You
she bounced
on the
about
couch.
You're a bouncer.
No, it wasn't bounce. It was like slammed or
Yeah.
something like that.
Slam.
It's like you slammed. You're a. I can't remember. Damn
You're
it!
a
This is gonna kill me.
slammer.
This is gonna kill me now. That she slammed down.
Well, I was thinking, God, we just talk and talk and talk, and it never ends.
Just keep on going.
All right,
Actually,
wait.
that was something I did want to mention on a little note that not having podcasts on my phone, or if I want a podcast, I have to go download it. It's actually kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Like I don't, and this is ironic to say on a podcast, but it's kind of cool not having someone talking in my ear all day. Like, hey, dude, here's what you should think. Like, yeah.
Totally. Well, I listen. I think it's cool to listen to a few podcasts a week.
I think
That's
so too.
where I'm at.
I think so too.
I have gotten to the point where sometimes I will, if I'm drawing or whatever, I'll listen to podcasts all day long. Especially when you wake up. I'm not sure that it's best, especially to listen to like an informative podcast.
Yeah.
Or one that's too cynical.
Or newsy or something.
Or
like that.
newsy. I like to just put on uplifting music.
Yeah.
If I listen to a good album, and honest, Erykah Badu, Mama's Gun, so good to put on in the morning because you like want to dance around, and it's inspiring for the rest of the day.
I agree. I just
It's
think
an
you got to
upper.
watch the stuff that you're putting in. I think we just take it all a little too lightly is what I'm starting
Totally.
to really think,
I
because
definitely think so.
I do still go on social media, but I have to go on my computer to do it. And like, it seems a little more extreme now to me than to just like casually like bust my phone out and be like, yeah, let me check.
Right.
It's like a lot coming at you.
Oh,
you know?
God.
And then it's the same with podcasts too. I have to be like, okay, I'm listening to a podcast. Whereas before I'd just go to work and it's just whatever, just steady flow of info coming at me.
Well, I think you have to look at it all like it's all sort of nutrition, like nutritionally based.
Yeah.
It's not just food that can be nutritious, or what's the opposite of nutritious? Bad. It's not just food that can be nutritious for you and do your body good and your mind good.
Right.
It's literally everything that you're putting, everything you're taking in.
Exactly.
And I think that it can be the things that you listen to can determine, just like watching social media or looking at social media, the things that you listen to can be like a decay on your brain.
Yeah, and it creates like an inability to pay attention, I think, sometimes.
Oh,
because
totally.
That's really the world that we're living in. It's just this thing that did, and none of them, they're all fragmented. So you're just getting all these fragments of info.
Right.
Whereas now I just have I have like the Bhagavad Gita audiobook on my phone. I just listen to that. So I'm always tuning back into the same thing, and I'm learning more and more.
Yeah. Learning is really important.
I want to learn. And I want to focus my efforts. But I am still a spaz. Don't get it wrong. When I'm in my studio, I'm like, all right, I'm going to practice drums for 5 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to like screw with this MIDI controller. Oh, and then I'm going to go over here. And that's kind of like how I roll.
Yeah. I just think it's cool to take in more neutral information, because if you listen to a lot of podcasts, it can be very one-sided. No matter what kind of podcast you listen to,
it's someone's opinion.
Yeah. I like to get like well-rounded information. I still fucking love podcasts. I love comedy podcasts. They're so fun to listen to, but all day, nonstop. I mean,
and you
it's
start
just like
taking
candy.
on. You can begin to take on whatever you're listening to, their opinion, as if it's yours.
Your own, yeah.
And that is definitely something I've thought about before. I'm just like, what even is an opinion? Because you're really just hearing someone else say something, and then for whatever reason you sort of like agree with it or identify with it, and you start saying it.
And then you use that to disagree with other people's opinions.
But is it really your opinion? I don't know. I think there's just opinions.
Well, that's like
opt into them or not.
That's going back to the nature nurture argument, because it's like, are you a product of your biological ways, or are you like subject? Do you have free will, or are you subject to what everyone else is telling you to do, is saying to you, to all of the information that you're taking in?
Yeah. I think definitely when it comes to the limit of like the body mind, right? That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about, we'd have to agree that you are this thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm my mind and my body. At that point, I would think that that's sort of a product of nature. But that's because I read that in the Bhagavad Gita. You know, that's not my...
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I know,
So I don't know, you know.
So when are people the most pure? I suppose in the womb.
Yeah. But I mean, or...
At conception is when people are the most pure.
Right. But...
Because other than that, your whole...
tainted.
Our whole lives are based around things that we take in.
Right. And that's the thing.
Whether it's by our own choosing or others. You know, it's what we're biologically taking in, what we're taking in from the outside. So who are we?
Who are you? Yeah,
but other people. Who are we but other people?
Right. Yeah, I know. And I forgot what the point I was going to make. But in short, it's good to keep an eye on all that stuff.
Yeah.
And have enough self-reflection to go, okay, where am I going with all this stuff?
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people are, myself included at times, you're sort of just like wrapped up in the whirlwind of
life,
the zeitgeist of being on your phone and this, that, and the other thing. And that's why I think it's awesome to not have a phone on you all the time.
Yeah, I feel that.
Straight up.
It's
I
important.
recommend it.
It's important to like not pay attention and to stop and live in your own life.
Yeah. Live in your own life. That'd be a good episode name.
But we're not doing episode names anymore.
No, maybe we should bring it back.
Nah.
Live in your own life.
All right, we are literally in the middle of recording our album.
Yeah, I know, and we just took a quick break.
So we took a quick break.
Check in.
But what I will say, I love saying that. I love saying what I will say. What I will say about that is that the album's going great.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of everything that we're making so far.
It's really crazy.
We've got a few songs done on vocals. Everything else is nearing completion. I'm just so proud of it. I'm so proud of it.
It's a good listen.
Can't wait to put it out.
It's going to take it out of you.
Everything's coming together. We have the art. Everything comes together well.
That's right.
Yeah.
It all comes together in its own due course.
I'll save my...
Would you agree with that, Jay?
Yeah.
Everything happens in its own due time.
In due time.
Isn't that one of your lyrics?
Yep. World without us, baby.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to see you next week.
Have a good one. Next week, we'll talk about Nashville some more.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for checking in. And keep LIVIN, baby.
Keep on keeping on.
Peace.
Let it be.
Let it be.